Omang, Charlie Smith, Drong Benji, Georgia Strait. I'm Charlie Smith, editor of the Georgia Strait, a weekly Vancouver newspaper, and I'm very happy to be back for another week on WOW TV. I'm joined here with Janet Smith, who's the arts editor, and she's going to update us with what's the latest news in arts. So Janet, what have you got?
Well, there's a lot of big shows on this weekend. Usually May is a little bit slower, but the openings just keep happening as a lot of arts groups wrap up their seasons. Among the most notable is Axis Theatre's Rip, A Winkle in Time. Axis Theatre's been around for almost 40 years in this city, which is unheard of for a theater company. And they actually had their roots in mime. So they started out as a mime company in the late 70s when mime was really the big thing. But they've, over the years, evolved under the leadership of Wayne Specht into more of a physical theater company. So in this show, which is based on the old Rip Van Winkle legend, you're going to see everything from acrobatics to dance to music. There's even puppeteering. There's just everything you can imagine sort of thrown into one show. And the whole thing is that even though there is speaking, the idea is that you should be able to understand an Axis Theatre show with earplugs in or not speaking the language. So it's really told in a very physical style despite the fact that there's a script. It's also got a whole bunch of surprises. They really play with time. It's set in the gold rush era, and you're never quite sure when it's flashing to contemporary time or the back in time, so it's a really playful show. It's at the Waterfront opening this weekend. Worth checking out. The other really big show is Don Carlo at the Vancouver Opera. They have not put on this opera in 40 years because it's such a logistical nightmare and it's very expensive. It's a Giuseppe Verdi opera that is not often put on. They're going to have 61 people in the orchestra pit. They're going to have 80 people on stage plus extras. It's just going to be a massive production. It's very complicated to take on. It takes place during the Spanish Inquisition, and it's about a king whose son sort of usurps him over a woman. So that is definitely a big deal opening Saturday night as well.
I'd just like to ask you about Vancouver Opera because it's had some spectacular productions, and I'm just wondering, why do you think it has had such staying power and done so well in Vancouver?
Well, I think it all comes down to programming. So they're very, very careful about the 4 shows that they do each year. So, you know, they'll have some sort of old war horses like the Madame Butterfly and pieces like that. Then they'll have some more experimental pieces. And then something like Don Carlo, where it's sort of part of developing the audience. There's lots of audience members who love Giuseppe Verdi, but probably have never seen this opera or had the opportunity. So they're hoping to get people out to something they've never seen before, but they're very good at sort of mixing it up in the season.
And is there anything for the diverse communities of Vancouver that's coming up in the arts?
Yes, I would encourage people to check out our paper next week. We're going to have a ton of coverage of the Sound of Dragon Festival. This is the first time, it's almost unbelievable. Our music editor, our music writer, Alex Vardy, was commenting on the fact that he can't believe this has never been done before. It's a festival of Chinese music. But the whole point of it is to show that Chinese music goes far beyond sort of traditional music. So we will have some classical sounds there. But it also is going to have everything from electronic music to improvisational. So it's really going to show the diversity of the Chinese community here. It opens May 9th. So in next week's paper, please check us out to see which shows you should check out there.
Yeah, what's happening now is it is Asian Heritage Month in Canada, and this is something that takes place every May. And there are other aspects of Asian Heritage Month too. A lot of it is also connected to the focus on history, and one of the big events in Vancouver this year is the centenary of the Komagata Maru, which was a vessel that sailed into Vancouver Harbor in 1914, May 23rd. There's going to be a whole bunch of events at different museums, the Surrey Museum, the Surrey Art Gallery, the Vancouver Maritime Museum. Later this month, Museum of Vancouver is having a show. And I was talking to Harb Gill, who's with the Komagata Maru Memorial Foundation, and he told me what he's doing on May 22nd, the day before, is he's boarding a boat in the harbor at Cole Harbor, and he's going to take 376 passengers aboard, and they're going to sail around almost like a Gilligan's Island little sailing around the harbor, 3-hour tour, and it will be so they could experience. And there's going to be paintings on the boat of Jarnail Singh's images of the Komagata Maru, and so it's going to be an educational experience. And he's hoping to get students on. I'm sure there will be media on. So it's going to be a very interesting time for people who are interested in Asian heritage in Vancouver.
And Sound of Dragon definitely ties into Asian Heritage Month as well. There's going to be much more as well.